but not in the standing position. Well, occasionally they do.
They are allowed to. They can use it in the stand. Some of the best in the world have used it just to pull the rifle tighter in the stand. It takes a little longer. In the prone, the hook up to the arm cuff takes the whole weight of the rifle, so you're not muscling the weight of the rifle, and it locks it. There's a hand stop which your hand goes into, and then it locks it really tight into your shoulder, so you're not muscling. You couldn't keep it that steady with purely using your muscles.
And one or two of you are already suffering from withdrawal symptoms at the end of the season. I know it goes incredibly quickly. We've got 8 months or so before they start racing again, but they do race in the summer months. There is such a thing as summer biathlon. Most of it's done on roller skis, and if you check out the Biathlon World website, you can see the schedule for summer races, and obviously that's how these guys train throughout the summer months: roller skis and rifles, and it's pretty similar, to be honest, with the development of roller skis over the last 5 years. There's not a lot of difference.
I would love to see, Patrick, a series as serious as this, like a World Cup roller ski biathlon event. So let's say 10 races to start with, and then increase it to almost, it would be different athletes, biathletes. You wouldn't get the best in the world in the winter doing it, but it certainly they wouldn't pick and choose some of those races. It's great training, it's the same feeling, and technically much the same, but without the cold.
Have you never heard of too much of a good thing? I think
all right, 5 races in the summer.
Stick to the winter season when it's meant to be. A little like the ski jumping, actually, who have a very intense summer program, a Grand Prix that runs throughout the summer months, but it never gives you any idea who's going to be on top come the winter. Now let's focus on this race. Tim Burke still leading the way, 23:30 the time. Svensson's up there in the leading group, and the leading group being chased now, and the chasing group led by Simon Forcada, who of course got on the podium yesterday. Both brothers on the podium. Simon delighted in the press conference after the race, absolutely chuffed to bits to be ahead of his brother, but also delighted that both of them were there.
They're such a tight unit. They share the same room, and brotherly love. They really do help each other, and it must be tough for Simon a lot of the time when his kid brother is so amazing. I'm just thinking there's of course the biathlon cross as well, which is running and shooting. Maybe that would be the series in the summer. Of course there is a series in the summer of running and shooting.
So shoot number 3, critical stage of the race. The main players are still in contention. Standing position, Mike. Wind, how would you like it in these instances? Blowing left to right. The women had it blowing towards them. The men generally got it going from left to right.
Well, it definitely moves the rifle when the rifle's extended out from your body, and that left will be felt slightly. And if it's a changeable wind, it's not too bad actually. The flag's just dropping off as soon as they put the rifles into their shoulder almost.
Schlesinger, Chapulin, Bow, Forcada, Landetinger there, Tim Burke of USA. The mistake from Terje Bow, the world champion in this discipline. He gets 4 out of 5. Chapulin gets 5 out of 5, and you hear the reaction from the crowd, but so does Martin Forcada, who remains dangerous despite the fact that he missed a target on that second prone. Schlesinger throws 2 away. That could be the end of his chances today, and Simon Forcada alongside Moravec and Garanichev. Simon has missed, Garanichev is clear, so is Moravec. Birnbach has had another nightmare, 3 misses. He's done what Bjorndalen did on the second prone, and Mesetic with a clean shoot on the 3rd time has put himself in the running for a top 3 today. But there are the 2 leaders. 25:56 the time for Anton Chapulin, a man who did the double in Antolz earlier this year. Is he going to win his 3rd World Cup of the season?
Looking good. The margins are very, very small though. Martin is only 2.3 behind him. Moravec, great season. I can't believe that Birnbacher, like Bjorndalen, missing 3, but in the first stand, Bergman, he's been going so well to this moment, missed 2.
Arndt Pfeiffer, who won the world sprint title here in Khanty-Mansijsk in 2011. A dire season for him. He's finished in 6th 3 times. That's his best of the season, Mike. What does he do? Does he go back to the training board? You know, Pfeiffer's a strong athlete, but he's shown nothing like the form that we saw from him over the previous 2 years.
It reminds me of Christoph Steffen. Remember, 4 years ago, he was doing so well, getting himself into the top 10, the top 5, and then he's been back at the IBU Cup since. And that seems to be the journey that Pfeiffer is on this year. Hopefully the training will be changed, reshaped for the Olympic year.
Well, what a fascinating situation we have now. Forcada, who was desperate to win the last race of the season. The fans are desperate for Anton Shapulin to win the last race of the season. How much time can Forcada take out of Shapulin on the last lap? I guess what I'm asking is, do you think that Forcada can afford to miss a target and still have a chance?
Yeah, and I think that Sigi Mazet, his coach, thinks the same. There's Yuri Kashkarov. Haven't seen him for a long while in the middle of the shot, former world champion. I think that Forcada could miss one shot and pull back yet 20 seconds. That's
right.
It's a huge ask over 3 kilometres, but he just looks that good today.
Now, the final question coming in on emails, and then we're just going to have 100% focus on this last race. Wanting to know whether the facial hair that is sported by a number of the athletes is aerodynamically inefficient. How much time is given away? Benny Vega's one that they pick out with that little goatee beard. Or, of course, the man we've been discussing over the last couple of weeks, Eric Lesser, whose moustache gets bigger by the day.
Do you think there's a factor in there? I suppose there must be.
I don't think there is, but if you're winning, you might as well keep it. And we ought to have a vote on Lesser's moustache. Should it stay, or should it go? I think he should keep it, because he's instantly recognisable. Nice guy, actually. Those who liken him to a number of actors and those that we see on the telly, some saying he looks more like a porn star than a biathlon star, but he's a good guy, and I've been really impressed with Lesser actually this season, and I think he surprised all of us by doing so well early on in Östersund.
And he's kept that throughout the whole season. He has the odd bad day. We saw him, sadly, he ran out of energy on the last lap of the relay for Germany, but still held them in there for a medal.
Well, these two out on their own, and certainly have got their eyes on the medals here in Khanty-Mansijsk. 60 World Cup points, as is always the case. If they go to Martin Fourcade, he'll move on to 1,265. So through 10.5. Remember, one chute remaining. The ski jumping starting in Oslo, the women and the men. A slightly unusual format in Oslo, with the women's first round followed by the men's first round, followed by the women's second round, and then of course the final jump for the men, and David Goldstrom on hand for that event. Women's ski jumping, what a cracking event that is. So glad that that's made it through to the World or the Olympic Games next year. So Fourcade, Shapulin first and second, and quite a healthy gap between them. They've almost earned themselves a missed shot on that last chute over the chasing group, which includes the likes of Moravec of the Czech Republic. Well, there's no doubt that Anton Shapulin is having to work hard. His technique's starting to look a little bit ropey, Mike. I suspect that Shapulin's pulse rate is probably 10 beats per minute up above his comfort level.
Oh, but he knows that he has to stick in there to try and keep some contact with Martin Fourcade. Should Martin Fourcade hit all 5 and then give himself a chance for a victory, Shapulin, he's the only one to go 0-0-0. The only one so far to hit 15 out of 15.
A lot of hit 14 out of 15. Ada, Garanichev, Bo, Mesetic, Emil Hegler, Svensson, 14 out of 15, only 25 seconds apart. So if Shapulin and Fourcade push each other to the extent that they both miss one or even more than one, then we have another, 7, 8, 9, maybe even more, who will come into contention for the win here in Khanty-Mansijsk. But everyone needs to get out of the range, perhaps 10 seconds at least in front of Martin Fourcade, because that's what he's capable of taking out of everyone on the tour at the moment.
Oh, phenomenal. And of course he's tired. They're all tired, but even when Martin Fourcade is tired, he finds something special. He's admitted that he was tired in Oslo. He's gone on to a race in Sochi after that, 3 great races. And again here, pushing himself every day, as they all do.
Now, the Russians haven't had many wins this season. Moravec, what a season he's had. He's come of age, I think it's fair to say, and a podium finish at the last race of the season would be brilliant. He may be thinking in terms of winning this one. The Russians, Malishko, of course, one of the first-time winners. He won in Oberhof. Garanichev showing that he's certainly a nailed-on favourite for the Russian A team next year, which is so crucial to them. And he's the man pulling the group back to the race leaders and gaining ground on Moravec. The Austrians are in there. 1, 2, 3 of the Austrians up in that leading group. We've got Simonader is there, Mesetic is there, Landertinger is there. No sign of Christoph Suman, of course, who won yesterday.
And Svensson at the back, he just hasn't, after that cold that he had, he said it was just a common cold, he hasn't come back to his top form.
Another incredible injection of pace. When we first saw it at the World Championships, we were slightly bemused. Do you think he's saying, OK, I'm going to make a habit of this because everyone else is going to have to adjust? If they want to beat me, they've got to match me. At the moment, everyone's ignoring these injections that Forcada is putting in when he comes in to shoot.
It's unique, it's strange, they've obviously worked at it, but it is buying Forcada build the position time. He loves that relaxation, he doesn't like to be stressed. I think he does it just to buy himself more time in building his position. He's got to be time.
Shipulin.
This is pushed Shipulin, Patrick, over, I think, the zone he would normally want to come into this range.
The final shoot of the season. Will Forcada finish the season in style? He looks strong. One more to go, and the win's in the bag. Celebrations again. It's another French victory, and the Russians are now going to have to hope that they finish on the podium. Shipulin has opened the door just a little bit for Moravec of the Czech Republic. Garanichev is there for Russia as well. Simonader with his back to you, wearing bib number 12 in lane number 5, alongside Mesetic and Landertinger, 2 Austrians. Svensson might come through. Terje, of course, the world champion in this discipline, can only think in terms of finishing in the top 3, but a miss has put him out of contention. Moravec is a goner as well. Simonader gets 5. That would be his best result of the season if he finishes in the top 3, but he's going to have to ski against Landertinger and Svensson, who will all have their eye on a place on the podium. And Tim Burke of USA hits the last 5 for one of the very rare times this season. Well done to him.
Good for Tim. Now that gives Tim certainly an opportunity. Although he's got 2 Austrians ahead of him, it gives him a chance for a medal.
Well, a chance, Mike, maybe even better than that. He's only 8 seconds off second place, so he's really got to latch onto the back of Svensson and hope that the Norwegian takes him forward. The Austrians have shown great form at the end of the season. We haven't